All right, folks, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. That Applebee's song was just for you, Mark Schaefer. I know how much you love the Applebee's. That's where Mark takes all of his dates, folks, to the Apple.
I'm gonna have to unmute myself on that one, Coach. Come on now. I once had a guy a long time ago. I was in a club playing foosball, and a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, man, you were with my girlfriend last night." I was like, "I don't think so." He goes, "Yeah, I saw you at McDonald's." I was like, "I trust me on this one. You're wrong. I would not take a girl to McDonald's."
Oh, but you would take it to Applebee's, right? All right.
Yeah,
All right.
probably.
I've got a good story on Applebee's I'll save for later, folks. So good evening. Good evening. My name is Coach Micheal Burt. I'm so glad to see you tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. I like to stimulate my own economy. And it's something I try to teach all the people I coach in Monster Producer, which is how to stimulate energy and excitement and leads. And I'm coaching some of the top EXP people in the world. Al Stasic is one of those people. Al Stasic, Jay Kinder, Jimmy Franklin are the top people at the organization. And the other day I was working with Al Stasic, and I basically said to him, "Man, we got a team session coming up with your team. This is what I'm going to be coaching. What do you think the team really needs?" And we went through a number of things, Joe Parton, and he came back to me and he said, "Man, what the team really needs more than anything is how to fill the top of the funnel." Okay. And when he said that, I thought, man, that's a problem, Kevin Jones, that everybody's got. Everybody in the world's got the problem of how to fill the top of the funnel. Can I get an amen from you? If you're on here tonight, you say, "Man, if we could solve that problem for you, it would solve a lot of problems," right? And, you know, I've been coaching people now for 30 years. And when I started my coaching business, I got a lot of advice. Make 100 calls a week, join the local chamber, network like crazy. And what I really wish they would have told me is I really wish they would have taught me how to feed my funnel. And so several years ago, I come across a strategy, and then we've been refining that strategy over the last several years. And we have now not perfected the strategy, but now we are now generating about 3,000 leads every 90 days without Micah Calloway spending a fortune on marketing. Okay. Because a lot of people, I'm coaching some people that are spending 100 grand a month on driving leads. Okay. That's 1.2 million a year in driving leads, folks. If I could save you the 1.2 million and show you how to do it organically, would you be interested in it? And the answer is going to be yes. I don't care what business you're running. So basically, when Al said that to me the other night, I said, "Man, it's been a minute since I've done a webinar. I love the webinars because people that show up on webinars are hungry. They're hungry to learn. They're hungry to get better." And so if you think this is going to help you tonight, if you say, "Man, I'd like to fill my funnel at a higher level," then tonight's webinar is going to be for you. And I'm going to basically show you, it looks like I've got about 6 or 7 ways that 6 or 7 ways that I help people. I'm gonna mute everybody that comes in. 6 or 7 ways that I basically feed this funnel to as many as 3,000 leads every 90 days. Okay. So if you're geared up, ready to go, Mark Berger, you guys ready to go? We're going to have people join us throughout. We have 246 people register for tonight's webinar. I'm excited, man, about being with you, and we're going to get this party started. Now, here's a question I want to start by asking you. Most of us on here has been selling people most of our life one-to-one, meaning I made one phone call. I convinced one person, and it's very non-scalable, number one, and it's very exhausting, number two, to sell one-to-one. I made up my mind. What I want to do is sell one to many, 1 to 200, 1 to 500, 1 to 1,000, 1 to 10,000. And the question is, how do we do that, right? So I want you thinking tonight, let's break down some very basic things, because I'm going to teach you more than anything how to position by concept and how to create concepts that are so powerful that you attract people to the concept. Once you attract people to the concept, that allows them to taste the ice cream. once they taste the ice cream and like it, they're going to want to be interested in more. And I operate on a very simple philosophy. Maya Angelou said, when we know better, we do better. So if I could show you how to sell one-to-many versus one-to-one, how many of you take it if you could sell 1 to 500 versus 1 to 1? Not everybody. Okay. So let's break down the essence of this. Selling is real simple. Selling is just solving a problem for another person. That's all selling is, man. It's just solving a problem for another person. Okay. When we know better, we do better. All we're trying to show people and educate people on is how we can help them do better in their life and move towards some type of goal that they have in their life. And if we can solve this problem for them, they're going to do business with us. They're going to move toward us. So the question becomes, how do we get in front of these people? So let's put these into 2 buckets. I define branding as becoming known. And I have a real simple philosophy. I wrote a book on this called Person of Interest. If I don't know you, what's the likelihood of me doing any business with you? If I don't know you, what's the likelihood of me referring you? If I don't understand how you can help me, what's the likelihood of me doing any business with you? So I define branding as becoming known. Part of doing webinars, speaking engagements, podcast is for one reason: to become known to strangers. Okay. You don't need more money. You need more people. Okay. I define marketing as distributing a message to a person that has a need. One definition of marketing, if you looked up the definition of marketing in the Webster Dictionary, it would tell you translating a problem, translating a customer's problem into a profit. That is one definition of marketing. Marketing is distribution of a message to a group of people who need what it is you have. So think of branding as I'm going to become known. And the more people who know me, the more people who can move toward me. Think of marketing as, man, I am distributing a message to people who need what it is I have. And I can solve a problem for them. If I'm not known, I can't solve the problem. If I don't distribute the message, I can't solve the problem. Okay. So if you guys have a problem, think about tonight. You guys have a problem in generating leads, and you see I'm putting out a webinar that's completely free to you on how to generate 3,000 leads in 90 days. That's interesting to you, or you wouldn't be here, right or wrong. Okay. So what I basically did is I'm teaching you how to do what I'm teaching you how to do tonight. I'm physically showing you how to do it while I'm doing it. Okay. So many years ago, I was coached by a person who taught me a very valuable principle. Don't ever forget what I'm about to tell you. He taught me one simple concept. He said, before you become known and famous, the word famous means known, renowned, celebrated. He said, learn to position by concept. Okay. Learn to create incredible concepts that people are attracted to. Okay. And I'm going to go through a whole list of concepts in just a minute. You're not selling real estate. You're not selling mortgages. You're not selling insurance. You're not selling health. Before you become known, create incredible concepts that people are attracted to, and they will come for the concept, and then they'll learn about you. Everybody see that? Okay. When I first started speaking, I worked for a company called Skill Path. That was where I cut my teeth. And I did 60 workshops in 2 days, 8-hour workshops. And basically Skill Path was the largest provider of seminars, live seminars in the country. They put on 3,000 live seminars a month. And they would bomb a city, Dallas, Texas, and they would say, excelling as a first-time manager or supervisor. Send your first-time managers and supervisors to this workshop. It's $99. They never mention who the trainer was. All they did is they come up with a great Now, how many people are a manager today that's never had any management training? How many people have been thrown into a manager's job that's never managed a person in their life? Right? So what they did is they said, here's a problem. People don't know how to manage people. And it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, managing people. What we're going to do is we're going to create a concept called how to excel as a first-time manager or supervisor. And they would market direct to all the companies, and companies would send their people to this workshop, and boom, then they get Coach Burt. They had no idea Coach Burt was going to be there. And then they go, man, I like this little bald-headed pit bull. Man, I like this dude. Maybe we ought to hire him to be our coach. They would have never even known me if they didn't come for the concept. So I want you to think right now, a lot of tonight's going to be based on the way we attract a lot of people to us before we become famous. Now, if you're Tony Robbins and you put out a new book, you're going to sell it. If you're on Fox News and you got 4 million people watching you every night, you're going to sell a book. If you're the president of the United States and the country knows who you are, you're going to sell something. Okay. Now, here's the deal. If you don't have that, you got to learn to create these concepts. So number one is we got to create concepts that attract people and solve problems. Notice the second part, Casey Joyner. The concept has to solve a problem for another person. If the concept doesn't solve a problem for another person, then guess what, man? Nobody's coming to the concept. Okay. I was doing a webinar one night with a gentleman, and he said, I want to do one on perspective. And Alpha Slice, what I told him was, man, the people are not going to come to a webinar about perspective. Now, if you want to change the concept, David Marsh, to where how to expand your perspective by 10 times, or how to expand your thinking to a higher level. Now we're getting closer to a concept people will come to listen to. Everybody see that? They're not just going to come to some vague, boring concept. Okay. We have to learn to position by concept that solves a problem. Money changes hands when problems are solved. If they're attracted to the concept, they will be attracted to you. Okay. Now, when I sit down, I wrote down concepts that I had created, and here are some powerful concepts. So the whole time I'm teaching you this, I want you thinking, what is my concept? Okay. My wife runs the health division of our company, and she was talking about one of our clients who lost 40, 50, 60 pounds. And she said to him, it's John, maybe it's John McAllister who's on here tonight. And I said, man, good for him, man. He's doing it. He's getting it. And here's what my wife said to me. She said, man, here's what he's signaling to the world, that he's getting in the game. See, when you lose a bunch of weight and you look better and you feel better, you send a signal to the world that you're getting off the bench and you're getting in the game. And I looked at her and I said, that's a great concept. You should be talking about that concept more. Talk about getting in the game. Talk about sending a message to your wife that you're getting back in the game. Talk about getting off the bench and getting in the game. Like, that is a powerful concept. Don't just talk about losing weight. Talk about getting your ass in the ball game. That's what you need to be talking about, because that signifies something to the marketplace that you're doing something. Okay. Now, so I still haven't convinced her that that's a big enough concept for her to talk about, but I'm working on her. Okay. I'm working on her. Now, here's some concepts that I have created. Okay. That were big concepts for me. Number one, person of interest was a very powerful concept. How to become known, how to become celebrated, how to become famous. How many people in the world grew up wanting to be famous? See, that's a big concept, man. Okay. Number two, when I wrote the book, $1 Million Follow-Up, that's a big concept. Notice it's an action. A lot of great concepts are actions. They're not statements. Okay. There's some statements that are incredible, but many of them are action. Max Out is an action. 10X is an action. My new book, Flip the Switch, is an action. These are concepts. Okay. Acres of Diamonds. Is that a good concept? Yes or no? Very powerful concepts. Now, if I was selling, remember Joe Stump used to have the referral company or referral type coaching, and he had a concept. I can't remember what it was, but if I was selling referrals, I may call my company Acres of Diamonds. And what does the company do? Man, it teaches you how to tap into your network of people over and over and over again, right? So you're creating a concept, okay? What about Sean Whalen's concept, lions, not sheep? Is that a powerful concept? Okay. Now here's the deal. He's creating a concept that attracts people to it. Okay. What about this one? Make America Great Again. Is that a concept? Okay. Yes. Is it an action? Yes. Now, when you have these concepts and you are thinking about these concepts, Okay. Grind less and grow more is a concept, Brad Parnell. So here's what I want to get across to you, because you're saying, well, how does this attract leads? Here's what I'm going to tell you. If people are coming to you because they think you're going to sell them something, they're not going to come to you. Okay. If they come to you, they're coming to you because they're attracted to a concept. Okay. Now I'm going to give you an example. I was on the phone with Lisa Copeland. Lisa Copeland is a very successful car business entrepreneur in Texas, car dealership. She was a big coach and she wrote a bunch of books. And I knew of her from that world. She got involved with EXP and now she's got a downline and she's doing well and she's building out residual income and she's in the real estate game. And she said to me one day, she said, man, I used to get paid to come in and do events. Now, every time I do events, people are afraid I'm going to try to recruit them. And so they don't bring me in to do the events because everybody's afraid it's going to be a recruiting fest. And I said, Lisa, you have to position by concept. I said, the concept attracts the people. Once the people get there, they can make up their mind if they want to join your team or not, if they like you. I said, so give me one of your book titles. She said, well, one of my book titles is called Crushing Mediocrity. And I said, great, there we go. Let's do a full day in Austin, Texas with a theme of crushing mediocrity. And I'm going to bring in Coach Burt, the #1 activator of Prey Drive on planet Earth. And this whole day is going to be a whole day about crushing mediocrity. We ain't even going to talk about recruiting people. We ain't going to talk about EXP. We're not going to talk about anything else. We're going to talk about crushing mediocrity. And if they get there and they like you and they like your concepts, they're going to move towards you, which will give you the opportunity to recruit them on the back end. Everybody see that? What if she just put up a flag in Austin, Texas, Darren, said, hey, man, holding a recruiting event. Why don't all the agents from Keller Williams and all the other things come on down today? Now, how would that work, folks? It wouldn't work. But if she had a day that had a great concept, people get there and they like it and they like the energy. I just did this in Houston, Texas with Canal Seth. People got there. They liked the energy. They were with other real estate firms. They went, man, I like you. I like this energy. I'm going to come on over to Canal Seth's team. And I said, why? Because of the concepts you guys are offering. Okay. So just know this. First step to attracting thousands of leads is we got to come up with an incredible concept. Okay. We got to come up with an incredible concept. All right. Second thing you got to remember is you need to understand the concept of affinity. And affinity means I'm watching you on social. I'm watching what you're doing. And I like what I'm seeing. I'm warming up to you. I like what you believe. You and I believe the same things. So I'm watching a little bit more. I'm watching some of your YouTube videos and I'm following you on Facebook and I'm watching you on Instagram and I'm building this affinity toward you. Okay. And I'm attracted to you because, man, you know what you stand for, you know what you believe, and you have a core message. Okay. So write down these 3 things. All people of interest have 3 things. Number 1, they got a great message. That's the concept. Number 2, they got a big mission. And the mission is I'm enrolling people. I'm enrolling people into my mission. I'm doing big things. Join me. Let's do this. Okay. Number 3, they got a lot of movement. They got a lot of movement. There's circulation. There's action. There's activities. They're doing webinars, their own podcasts. They're hosting their own conferences. They're doing strategic partnerships. Okay. The brain science tells me that I have to be hooked by something to be attracted to you. And then I have to watch you for a period of time before my brain goes, I like this person. I'm interested in having a relationship with this person. Okay. And just as a show of hands, how many of you guys have watched me on, how many of you guys have watched me at some point on YouTube more than one time before you made a buying decision with me? Anybody? Okay. So just look at the people on here. So you watched it, you watched it, you watch it, you build an affinity, you like the message, I got a mission, you think there's enough movement, and then boom, I'm going to buy something from this dude. Okay. So if you understand the croc brain is scared of everything. If you don't produce something that helps a person survive or thrive, they're not interested in it. If they can't survive and they can't thrive, they're not interested in it. And just study the work of Donald Miller on Story Brand, and that'll help you really understand how the brain thinks. Okay. Now, so let's get into some strategies on how to create this demand. Okay. And I'm going to start off with the webinar strategy. Okay. Because if you're not doing webinars, tonight we have 164 people on here, 280 registered. We're also live on Facebook. So there's a number of people who will see that. We will also push this to YouTube. We will also splice this webinar up into short clips and use it on Instagram. So before it's over with, this webinar may be seen by 3,000 or 4,000 people, let's just say. Okay. So I like the webinar strategy, and I don't care what you do for a living. The webinar strategy is, in my opinion, one of the best strategies you can use. I don't care what it is you're doing. So I'm going to physically show you exactly how we do this. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen and show you exactly how we do some of this stuff. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my Facebook page and I'm going to show you what I did for this. Okay. And how simple this was. All right. Remember, we're positioning by concept. Al Stasic, top EXP guy, said, man, what people really struggle with is driving to the top of the funnel. I said, great. He plants a seed in my mind and I go, you know what? I'm going to do a webinar on this. So look at how I tell this story. Why do something on Labor Day? I thought you're supposed to be off on Labor Day, right? What am I doing right there, Kevin Jones? I'm striking a chord with all the stone cold killers in the world. Okay. And they're like, hell yeah, I'm working on Labor Day. Just like you are, coach. Like, right? Like I'm hitting a nerve here. When you make a decision to become an entrepreneur, you make a simple decision to solve problems for other people. This is how you're compensated. When you create value, you get business. Okay. Now what I'm doing is getting agreement. Now look, we create a graphic, how to create 3,000 leads in 90 days. Alpha Slice told me I need to sexy up my graphics. So I put my private jet in there and got my aviator glasses on, Mark Schaefer, so I can look like a little bad bald dude. Okay. So I put my private jet in there and my aviator glasses. I said, look, how to create 3,000 leads in 90 days. Then we create a simple Zoom link. Okay. Now look at this. This is very important. We create a meeting. Look at everything that I forced you to give me to get on the webinar tonight. Name, email address, city, phone number, organization, job title. Everybody see that? So I basically push it out there. Okay. I basically push it out there. All my Instagram, social media, hey, I'm doing a webinar on this concept. If you go into the back end of Zoom, okay, and you create the back end of Zoom, there it is right now. Okay. And this is very important. And I'm going to bring on Brad Parnell from Genie Rocket in just a second and make a very important point. Because of this concept, how to create 3,000 leads in 90 days. Okay. We were able to produce 280 names with emails and phone numbers for tonight's webinar on how to create So here's the concept, how to create 3,000 leads in 90 days using simple concepts and calls to action. It's at 7 p.m. Here's the link. Now, once we take it from there, we're driving people to that page. Now we have 286 people's name, email, information. Now, very important. Okay. Now, how many leads? Micah Calloway, how many leads did I just produce?
I apologize. I was looking for you. I've never heard of you, but you did a whole lot of leads. You did about over 200.
Exactly right.
And you did a webinar concept.
Yep.
You had to join the link and you got all the information. It said 280 names, I think.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you how hard this was. So Al Stasic said, here's a problem. Money changes hands when. Steve Barnett, when problems are solved. He said, man, if you could help my agents solve this problem, that's the number one thing you can do. Okay, great. I'm going to take that problem. I'm going to create a webinar. How to create 3,000 leads in 90 days. I'm going to create a graphic. I'm going to create a Zoom and I'm going to push people to that webinar of which I let them, here's what I'm about to tell you, taste the ice cream, Brian Brown. I'm going to let them taste the ice cream, see if they like Coach Burt. Micah said she never heard of me. So here's the good news. Now she has heard of me. What's the likelihood of her buying any of my books if she's never heard of me, if she's never seen me before? So let me just ask the question to see if Chris, see if I'm right about this. Michael, why did you come to the webinar?
I came to the webinar because Al Stacey is in my upline, and I'm a honey badger, and I saw it, and I pretty much tagged every one of the other people in my organization in my downline because, you know, they struggle with the same concept. It was catchy, it was attractive, and it was a must-have.
That's right. So see, here's the deal. Key to the minis to the one. Okay. So now I got all of her downline looking at this. Now she's sharing my name in webinar with other people. And we'd all started with a simple concept, how to create 3,000 leads in 90 days. Now, if you're recruiting like she is with EXP, you got to learn to create incredible concepts that agents could sit in their home at night. If they're a Keller Williams agent or a Coldwell Banker agent, and they could sit at home and go, you know what, man, I like this concept. I like this woman, Micah Calloway. I like her. They can watch you, Micah, without you even knowing it. And they can observe you, and they can creep on you like people do on the internet, right? And they can sit there and go, you know what? I like this woman. I'm thinking about joining her team. I'm thinking about joining her organization. See, if I was recruiting people every single day, the webinar would be one of the #1 things I would do. Create a concept, push people to the concept. Don't try to sell your products and services on the concept. Just bring value. Just bring value. If I'm Darren and I'm an auctioneer, I'll be doing webinars on why people should be doing auctioneers, the benefits of auctioneers. I'll be doing benefits on man, how to take a property and get maximum value for that property. Anything he can think of to come up with any kind of hook that would pull people to a webinar, so he could plant a seed in their mind that a auction would be a good way for them to go, is a good move for him. Okay, now let's take and show what happens on the back end of this. So Brad, I'm going to allow you to share your screen. Okay, I'm going to make you a co-host. This is Brad from Genie Rocket, my partner at Genie Rocket. I'm going to show you the back end of this. So when we create all of these leads, Brad, show them where these leads go and then how we start to work all these leads.
Yep, what's up everyone? So let me share my screen here real fast. Cool. So one option is, whenever you are sharing a link, what Coach Burt showed is on the Zoom, it's collecting information there. The other option is to actually build a funnel. So if someone goes into a funnel and actually fills out a form, then what you can do is you can actually have it go into the back end pipeline CRM. And this is where it gets really interesting. So when people fill out that form, you can say automatically create an opportunity and put it in a column. And this is actually a really fresh one. So this is a live example. So as soon as they fill out a form, a team would get notified and a new opportunity would be created in the lead column, and those just automatically start piling up. And then if there is a sale tied to it, if you have some sort of digital or online sale, when a purchase is made, they can automatically be moved over to a sales column. And then obviously the nurturing piece is really important, the fortunes and the follow-up. So when leads come in, when you are generating leads and they are created as a column in the opportunity field, then you can start automating emails, texts, voicemail drops, and creating that 7 to 10 touch point to get them from a lead to a sale.
Okay, now this is very important, folks, because when you go back and study Amazon, when I wrote my new book, Flip the Switch, Mike, let me tell you what I did. I went back and I studied a lot of great companies, a lot of great leaders. And guess what Amazon was really, really, really good at? Collecting data. They collected data like crazy. You should be collecting data like crazy. See, tonight I collected 280 names. That's collecting data. Name, email, phone number, occupation, what city you live in. That information is going to go straight to a funnel, straight to a back-end CRM system that I can communicate with you, because like Micah said, this is the first time she's ever seen me. Okay, the law of diffusion tells me roughly 16% of people will see you, like it, early adopters and innovators, and they're going to take action with you very quickly. 34% are going to have to see it 3 to 7 times. 34% are going to have to see it 7 to 15 times. 16% of people are never going to see it. So you need to have touches and banging on people and information. So if Micah goes out and says, I'm creating a concept webinar, I'm going to do this webinar, I'm going to attract people to it, and she gets 50 people on her first webinar, that's 50 new people for her to follow up with. That's 50 new people to be in her nurture campaign through Genie Rocket. That's 50 new people for her to reach out to and say, hey, I noticed you're on my webinar. What are you trying to do? That's 50 new people. Just think about that. What if she starts getting 500 people on her webinar? So if you're not using the webinar strategy, in my opinion, you're missing an opportunity to sell one to many. But you can't have a webinar that's boring. You can't have a webinar that doesn't attack a problem. You can't have a webinar that's not interesting. Okay, Michael, you got a question?
So the GenieRocket.com, that's a must-have to basically to get the information, not just the Zoom data collector. You need the Rocket, the Genie Rocket.
That's right.
Okay.
The Genie Rocket collects the data and then gives you the ability to follow up with those people over and over. Video, text message, email, phone call. So once they get in that system, I may go in tomorrow and say to my team, I want to send a message to every EXP agent in my database. And I can do that through Genie Rocket. I want to send a text message to every person in there. I want to send a message to all the national auctioneers that I have in my database. I want to send a message to the 5,000 health coaches I got in my database. See, I can walk in tomorrow and say, man, I got a great message. I'm going to shoot a short video and I'm going to, right? I'm going to go touch all those people. And what I'm doing is I'm selling one to many, one to thousands, not one to one. And then I'm letting people circle out. Okay. So the first concept, if you're writing down the concepts tonight, is the webinar strategy to attract leads. Okay. And if you need help on this, okay, we got team members on my team. Mike Dole is here, Eric White, Mark Schaefer. They can type in their email addresses. But I love the webinar strategy. Absolutely love it. Gives me a chance to coach people, gives me a chance to show value, gives me a chance to connect to people. I do meetings versus webinars so I can see your faces because I like seeing the energy in the people's faces. Okay. I saw Robert Martinez on here who owns Rockstar Capital in Houston, Texas. I noticed that he's doing webinars. That gives him a chance to articulate why a person should invest with him at Rockstar Capital. The more people he can drive to those webinars, the more interest he's going to get. And the more interest he gets, the more people his sales team has to follow up with. Okay. All right.
So I really like that. And sorry to cut you off because I got a StreamYard started and it was a great thing. Like Nick Krim did my StreamYard. I'm talking about something great. I just don't have enough subscribers and followers. So I think that was the piece that I didn't have.
Yep. And listen, when I first started doing webinars, guys, I had 6 or 7 people on them. Now I'm getting 250 to 500 per webinar. Okay. And the stronger the concept, the bigger the problem it solves, the more people who are attracted to the concept. So number one, position by concept. Okay. And if you need Brad Parnell, he can help you with that. Genie Rocket, if you want to do a trial with Genie Rocket, and that's something that he's going to be able to give you. Okay. Amanda Beaner, you got a question on the webinar strategy, and then we'll move to the showcase.
Actually, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes.
Actually, I was just curious about the Genie Rocket as well. Are you able to log like notes and things like that in the system?
Yes, you are.
And do you have to have a website in order to have that where they can input their information?
Yeah. Brad Parnell, you can answer that question.
Yeah, so you can create funnels. It is good to have your own domain. So you can just buy a domain for 10 or 12 bucks a year. Super inexpensive, but very easy to connect up a domain. So you actually build your website or build your funnel inside the tool. You don't have to have your own WordPress or other type of website if you don't already have one.
Okay. Yes, sir. Definitely reach out to me after the webinar. We're interested.
Okay. All right, good. I'm going to take one more on the webinar and then we'll move on. Coach, I need to know how to launch webinars, how much information should be given. I actually have a script. Okay. And if you will email me at, let's do this. I'm going to get this to Mark Schaefer, mark@coachburt.com. I will actually give you a webinar script that I use. Okay. It's called the Perfect Webinar Script, mark@coachburt.com. And I'm going to use a publishing one that I did. Okay. So I'll get that to Mark. Mark Schaefer can reach out to you and it shows you a script. Now I've been doing this for a long time. So I have the script in my head. And so I don't need it like I did when I first started practicing the script, but there's a very specific way I do webinars. Okay. Okay, good. All right. Let's move to strategy number 2 to drive leads. We're going to call this the showcase strategy. The showcase strategy. Okay. And the showcase strategy is literally doing what it says. It is anything that allows you to showcase your skills and abilities and beliefs to another person. Okay. So a showcase, there's 3 types of showcases that I do. Number 1, education. I'm positioning by concept that solves a problem, and I'm inviting people to something. I'm inviting people to something. Okay, there's an education. I'm teaching you how to do something. Okay. Number 2, okay, there is the entertainment showcase, which is where I'm inviting you to something to have fun. Okay, like these concerts I do at the lodge that I own. That's an entertainment showcase. Okay, so if you come to hear a major country music artist at my lodge, I'm going to have a chance to be up in front of the group. I'm going to have a chance to meet and mingle. I'm going to have a chance to meet people and follow up. And here's the interesting thing. I've done two major country nights at my lodge, and a billionaire came to both of them. Now, what's the likelihood of me picking up the phone and calling a billionaire and saying, hey, man, why don't you come down and get some of the coaching I got? You need some more money, right? What's the likelihood of him coming to Brad Stewart? 0, right? He's going to say, I'm a billionaire. I don't need to come to a workshop about how to make more money or get 3,000 leads, but he would come to a country music concert. Now, what does that allow me to do? Meet, mingle, follow up. I love the entertainment showcase, which is where you bring people together, let them have fun, and then follow up with people. That's a showcase. Okay. Third type of showcase is edutainment. And edutainment is where you teach them something and then you let them have fun. Okay. And you're like, well, how does that happen? I always joke and say, just add wine. They'll figure it out. Just add wine and music. They'll figure out how to have the fun part. Okay. So I like teach them something. Like we did this the other night in Houston, Texas. I did a showcase event. I coached for an hour and a half, and then they had a DJ and they cranked up the music, and then it turned into a party, folks. And people had a blast. That is a showcase. Okay. This weekend, I'm doing the Monster Nation Conference, and we have people coming from all over the world, including Dubai. And they're coming to Nashville, Tennessee to spend 3 days with me. And we have entertainment in between. We've got certain artists that are playing in between the speakers to give a taste of Nashville. We got private party Thursday night, private party Saturday night. Listen, this is edutainment at its best. Does everybody see that? Okay, come to Nashville, learn how to be legendary, be around other legendary people. Like that, this is an ultimate showcase. Everybody see that? Okay, so we attracted probably 1,000, 2,000 leads. Of people looking at that, interested in that, right? And listen, that's nothing but good for us. So number 2 is I create some concept and I say, come to this, learn this, have fun with us, network with us. And man, I'm doing a showcase typically every month, every 2 months, with typically 4 big ones per year. Okay. I don't care what you do for a living, folks. You should be doing showcase events. Okay. Now let me stop there. And remember, what do we got to have, folks, to do the whole thing? Pop quiz. Lori Smith, what do we got to have something? What do we got to have?
People.
We got to have people, and we got to have a concept. Okay. If I just said, hey, come to Nashville and hang out with me, some people would come to Nashville and hang out with me. Okay. I got a message. I got a mission. I got a lot of movement. Everybody see that? I got a core message.
I have a question, Coach.
Go ahead.
When it comes to us as health coaches, I mean, what kind of showcase event example would we have? Because that's where I'm struggling.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because most health coaches have health and hope nights. And I think those are good, but I think there's so much more you could be doing. I think you need to have nights about transition. I think you need to have nights about finding a career, the career you've always wanted. I think you need to have nights about rebooting your life. I need to have nights about getting you confidence and swag back. See, I wouldn't lead with the health. I would lead with the concept.
Mindset.
Yeah. If Mark Schaefer says, hey, coach, come on down here, and we're going to sit around, man, and talk about your health tonight and how you need to lose 30 pounds. I'd be like, dang, man, I ain't coming to that.
Right.
But if Mark Schaefer said, come on down, coach, we're going to talk about getting your confidence back, man, getting your mindset to a new level, and he come up with a cool concept, I would go down there and go, okay, this is good. And then while you're down there, you talk about the whole picture, the whole person. Okay.
So being that being that Johnny and I haven't done anything like that, is that something that you can help us with? Or, I mean, this is all new to us. I mean, we're ready to grow. I mean, we're in Tennessee as we speak, waiting for your Munster Nation. So we're here and we're ready. We just don't know which direction to go, which I know that's one of the reasons we're here for Munster Nation, to get all that, hang out with you guys and learn and get motivated. But we just don't know we don't know where to start.
Well, I'm going to give you some homework tonight to start with one concept. That's where we're going to start. Okay. So let me go through a few of these strategies. Then we're going to start with one concept.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Number 3 strategy, showcase, the podcast. Okay. And when my new book comes out called Flip the Switch, that's coming out in February, it's about to be on Amazon here pretty soon. And we pre-sell it, right? We pre-sell it. And if I want someone, Mark Hiller, to buy my book on Flip the Switch, and I want all of his people to buy my book, what I would most likely do is come up with a concept where I'm going to make it so ridiculous. You get this, and this, and this, if you just go to Amazon and buy that book. Because I want to teach you a concept called return on objective. Most people think return on investment. My mind thinks return on objective. The objective is to become famous. The objective is to write a Wall Street Journal bestseller. The objective is to become known. So I don't care if I give away a ridiculous amount to get Mark to buy the book. I want him to go, man, for $30, I'm going to get all that. Why wouldn't I buy the book? What I need to do is hit a certain number of books to make that a New York Times bestseller. Because when I make it a New York Times bestseller, it raises my speaking fees. It raises everything because you become more known. You get more leads. You get more attention. Okay, next week I'm speaking in Rhode Island, and it's me, Tim Grover, Cardone, and Brad Lee. That's a pretty dang good lineup. And they're going to put 800 people in a room. Well, here's the deal, man. That puts me in front of 800 more people. Well, when that phone call comes in and I got a best-selling book, then the speaking fee is much higher. Because, man, Coach's stock is much higher right now than it was. Okay, everybody see that? So the objective is to become known. How can I become more known? Well, number one, I can write a book. Al Stasic, have you written your book yet?
I wrote one back in I want to say 2011 or 12, and
Okay.
we co-authored it with Nick Nanton. I don't know if you know Nick. So he was doing where like 12 people could write one chapter each, and now you got an entire book, and they make it #1 on Amazon and everything like that. It's called Cracking the Real Estate Code. So yeah, I got my book, but it was so long ago. Let me put it this way: I couldn't grow a beard then, so I don't even doesn't even count.
So here's the deal. So part of it may be, hey, it's time to bring out a new book, because here's the deal. One of the #1 things I'll do when I bring that book out is I'll be on all the major podcasts. Okay, and that is a form of showcase, because if I can get on all the major podcasts, now I'm in front of millions of people. Does everybody see that? But you don't get on a major podcast unless you have a message, unless you have a concept. You don't just call up and say, hey man, put me on, I'd like to be on your podcast. You need the firepower. Okay. And the firepower comes from, hey man, the dude's got a best-selling book out. Tim Grover, my buddy Tim Grover's done a great job with his book, his new book on winning, on being on the right podcast. And he made that book a New York Times bestseller. So here's the deal. The podcast, because you got a message and a concept, puts you in front of people. Now, when it puts you in front of people, there needs to be a call to action. And the call to action is, man, you can get the book today, plus you get a year of my coaching program, plus you get 4 boot camps, plus you get to spend time with my, 14-month-old kid, whatever, man. Whatever we got to do to sell the book, right? Because at the end of the day, the objective is to become known, okay? And that drives the leads. So let's look at the strategies we got right now, okay? #1, we got the webinar strategy, and that drives leads. #2, we got the showcase strategy, which are events that you need to be doing. Okay. #3, we got the podcast. Okay. And the podcast gets you in front of people, but needs to have a drive to action. Okay. Number 4, the way I drive leads is through strategic partnership. Okay. Mary Lee, you guys paying attention to this? Now, this is very important. Okay. I'm going to share my screen and show you exactly one more thing that I do here. Okay. This is the way I drive a lot of leads. Okay. I want to show you. So when you go to my events page, there's the conference coming up, but I'm going to show you an example of a strategic partnership. So I go to somebody who is very, very skilled, like this guy right here, Kevin Elko. This is Nick Saban's personal coach. This is Nick Saban, psychologist at Alabama. He's got 31 national championship rings from the people he's coached. So I go to Dr. Elko, who's one of my buddies, and I say, hey, man, let's you and I do something together. He's got a database that goes out every Monday morning to 50,000 people called the Monday Morning Cup. Now, when I partner with him through strategic partnership, and he and I do a concept together called Battle Tested, we did a 4-week series in the month of July that attracted 300 people to that, to hear he and I coach together. Okay. Then I said, hey, why don't we spend a day together on October 20th at my lodge in Tennessee? I bring the lodge, I bring my database, you bring your database, and we drive X number of people to the table. Now, let's say we charged, I think that event's $997 or something like that, but let's just say we charged $5,000 for that. And we got 50 people at that. Okay. And from that, we made $250,000 that day. And we split that. He makes $125,000. I make $125,000. And he teaches 3 hours and I teach 3 hours. How many of you guys would take $125,000 for 3 hours? Okay. Everybody would. Okay. So this is how you do it right here. Number 1, I create a concept, battle test it. Okay. You know where that concept came from? A guy used to kick my butt when I was a high school basketball coach told me one night, your kids are not battle tested. You play weak teams, you win, and your kids ain't tough enough. And I never forgot that. So I went back, I scheduled better people. We became battle tested. We won championships. And I called Dr. Elko one day and said, man, I got a great concept. We're going to do a 4-week series called Battle Tested. We're going to get as many people as we can. We're going to back end it with a day at the lodge. Now, when I get in front of his 20,000, 50,000 people, does that give me exposure to a whole new audience of people? Yes or no? Okay. Now, when I let them taste the ice cream, okay, when I let them taste the ice cream and I go in there and coach them for X number, some of those people carrying fields are going to say, boom, I like that little bald-headed pit bull. I need him to be my coach. Does everybody see that? So now all of a sudden I just got in front of 50,000 more people. Okay. Now, what is tonight about, David? It's about how do you drive 3,000 leads in 90 days? Okay. And I'm showing you exactly the way I do it through the webinar, through the showcase events, through the podcast, through the strategic partnerships. Okay. Because let's say they really like Elko and then they find out about me. Or what if they really like me and they find out about Elko? Now I'm strategically partnering with people and we're sharing audiences. And when we're sharing these audiences, we're getting in front of lots of new people. And you don't need more money, Jimmy. You need more people because the people have the money. Okay. And the more people we can get in front of, the better. Okay. We're going to call that the strategic partnership. Okay. Now I'm going to give you 2 more and then I'm going to take a few questions and give you an assignment. This is called the adventure stack. And this is definitely a way to drive new leads to the equation. I'm going to share my screen again. And the adventure stack is, let's see here. This is an example of an adventure stack. Okay. This is, I'm speaking at a conference in Long Island next week. I told you it was me, Cardone, Bradley, Tim Grover. Those are 4 of the main people. I go, you know what? You know what we should do? We should rent a G450 and take this G450 to Long Island and take people with us. And we can meet on the jet. So I called one of my buddies who has a G450 and I said, man, would you rent me that jet to go to, would you rent me that jet to go to Long Island? He said, absolutely. So we rent his G450. He just had it painted, put $1 million into it. And I call this an adventure stack. We turn around and we put this out to the marketplace on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, flying to Long Island. Here's the conference. Here's the speakers. Here's how we're going to fly. It's 10 grand a seat to go with us. And we sold this out literally in less than an hour. Okay. Now, how many new leads did we drive though of people who were interested? And I call it the adventure stack. Just a cool way. We're going anyway. Why don't we go on a G450? Why don't we have fun? Why don't we make it cool? We include the hotel, we include the jet, we include the VIP ticket to this. Okay. And that creates buzz and energy and excitement. Okay. And we call that one the adventure stack. Okay. Now let me get back to my thing here. All right. It keeps going back to that. Let's shut that out. There we go. Okay. Now let me stop there. And I see a few questions here and you're saying, man, this seems complicated. It wasn't complicated, folks. Here's what I said. I got 14 seats. I sell those 14 seats. I didn't sell all of them. Let's say I sell 10 of them at 10 grand a piece. That's 100,000 minus what the jet cost me, minus what the tickets cost me, minus what the hotel cost me. There should be some profit margin in there, right? So that creates buzz and interest and leads right there. Okay. Nick Redmond, what's your question?
Yes, sir. What's up, Coach, man? Appreciate you. I know earlier you were talking about the webinar concept, and if you were recruiting, that you'd be, hitting that well often. And I'm currently recruiting, in insurance with Symmetry. So if you could give some ideas, like, obviously I got to build out a concept. Would it be, I'm big on personal development. Would it be maybe something around that and just trying to get them to just, get a taste of the ice cream and like me and want to know more about me and then kind of follow up?
Yeah. So think about this. Sit down, Nick, and write out the 5 biggest problems agents face. Create webinars that would solve those problems. Your concept has to solve a problem for people. Okay. And every one of the situations I've showed you tonight, all I'm doing is using my skill set of coaching through different distribution mechanisms, live events, showcase events, strategic partnerships, cool events. Okay. Now I'm going to finish the strategy with literally showing you something that generated, this one thing generated 3,000 leads for me in 90 days. Okay. And I'm going to call this the book. This is why I'm going to go back to Al Stasic on writing the new book, because when I have an asset, that asset can be used. Okay. So let me give an example. This is where Genie Rocket would be really, really valuable for you. Let's go to, I'm going to show you the book strategy. So when I write a book, some of those books are to become known, famous, renowned, celebrated. Some of the books are used for nothing more than lead magnets. Okay, so let me give an example. This is actually a book I use to generate 3,000 leads in 90 days. Okay, this is my book on selling, legacy selling right here. Now notice on my website, many of these books say what? Free. Okay, it's free plus shipping. So we ran some Facebook ads, Instagram ads for this book. Okay, get this book, go straight to a funnel. This funnel collects all the data on you. The shipping for the book is $9.99. Okay, when we ran the ads, now if you go into the back end, let's just look and see. Look at this. 2,000 people went in there and purchased one of my books. That's 2,000 leads right there. That represents $225,000 of potential revenue. Now look right here. These are people that went and looked at it but didn't purchase it. 1,654 people represents $575,000 of revenue. Then these people have bought something from me and it's telling me they are ready to buy something else. 173,000. So that's 500. What is it? 700,000. That's about $1 million right there. in these names. Where did these people come from, folks? They come from purchasing. So the last paid plus shipping that I did was when I did person of interest. So I just came off a campaign where I did this book. Get this book right here for free. Takes you to a funnel page. Okay. And once you get that free book, guess where you go? Then you go into the back end of the system. And when you get into the back end system, look at that right there. See? So I could go in there and 2,000 people have been in there, folks. So I told you I was going to show you how to generate 3,000 leads in 90 days. There's 2,000, 1,654, 3,600. That's 3,600 right there. Now, do you think the sales team has somebody to call on? You think we got people to work? Hash, rehash? So when you are asking me why I'm so adamant about you writing a book, I'm so adamant about having a book because the book becomes an asset to drive leads, drive interest. Without the asset, what are you driving people to? So you're driving them to a concept, you're driving them to an event, you're driving them to a book, you're driving them to something. That's 3,600 names right there of people who have raised their hand, William. These people have raised their hand and give me their information, their name, their phone number, their email. And they're basically saying, Casey Joyner, I'm interested in you. You wouldn't have take the effort and go to the webpage if you weren't interested, right or wrong. So they're on the car lot. Now it's our job to help them, to solve a problem for them. Okay. Now, these are just a few strategies. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Some of you are thinking, man, these are too complicated. Coach Burt's been doing this for 20 or 30 years. I'm telling you, these are not complicated concepts. It may seem complicated, but it's not. I first start with a concept that solves a problem. That's going to be your first homework assignment tonight, man. Create a killer concept. Invite people to participate in it in the way you feel the most confident. Is it a webinar? Is it an event? Right? Is it an entertainment event? Here's a concept I'm going to do at the lodge: whiskey and wisdom. How many of you guys would come to that? To where I bring in somebody who's done a lot in their life. We have some high-end whiskey. People sit there and we do Q&A with somebody who's built $100 million company. We bring in a little bit of music. Tell me that isn't a cool concept. See, whiskey and wisdom, man. It's simple. It's a cool concept. So guess what? I'm going to have a dinner with a billionaire. Alpha Slice will be there. Won't you, Alpha Slice? Okay. Dinner with a billionaire, man. So you come to my lodge. We invite 25 high net worth people. You get to have dinner and ask questions with the billionaire. You just get to have dinner with them. We just talk about it. That's a cool concept. Dinner with the billionaire. Flying on a G450 to that event is a cool concept, right? These are cool concepts that attract people to them, okay? So your homework assignment is going to be, number one, create the concept. Number two, decide the distribution channel that you want to distribute the concept, okay? And number three, just freaking get started. If you need help, we can help you. My team will help you. I'll be happy to help you. Now, if you're interested in speaking, coaching, publishing, writing books like I do, and I think coming up the 15th and 16th of this month is my Micheal Burt School of Speaking, Coaching, and Publishing. And that's 2 days with me at the lodge where I break down all of this stuff and like hand-to-hand combat exactly how we do it. Also, if you hadn't got your ticket to Monster Nation, it's coming up this weekend in Nashville, Tennessee. Maybe a great time for you to come to Nashville and spend 3 days with me. We're going to be 1 day at the lodge, 2 days at the Clementine in Nashville. And I got some of the best speakers in the world coming in for that. So if you're interested in doing more with me in any way, or I can help you play at a higher frequency, email coach@coachburt.com and we will get you with the right person who can help you. coach@coachburt.com. Okay, let's take some Q&A. Let's take some Q&A here, folks. If you have some questions, if you got Jenny Rocket, Brad Parnell can help you. Brad will be in Nashville with me at Monster Nation, but he can definitely help you with Jenny Rocket. What I love about Jenny Rocket is, man, we can design it, redesign it the way you need to hit your audience, the way you need to hit them, man. Okay. What questions do you have for me tonight? I feel like we gave some good value. on how to drive 3,000 plus leads in 90 days.
Do you think that I should have did a podcast instead of a StreamYard?
Well,
I know you keep mentioning podcasts.
A podcast can be a StreamYard, but I think you need a core concept, and I think you need some repetition. And the concept is, are you going to do it every week? Are you going to do the podcast on StreamYard every week? And there needs to be a consistency to it. It can't be a one and done. It's got to be boom. I do it every Monday at noon. I do it every Tuesday at 4. It's got to be a consistency to your podcast. StreamYard is fine. We're streaming this on Facebook tonight. If you're using StreamYard, you can stream it to Facebook, but you need a very powerful concept. So when you do the podcast, it also needs to go, like if you see my podcast go to every major streaming, we use a concept called, I think it's Buzzsprout or something, where my podcasts are shot out to every mechanism, and we're averaging, I don't know, thousands of downloads. I think we've had about 400,000 downloads on my podcast, and we need to get that to 4 million, but it's a good start, right? So when I do a podcast, it goes to YouTube, it goes to every major streaming place it can, and we just push it out as hard as we can to the marketplace.
Awesome. I've already made an appointment with one of your person on your team, and I got the text just a minute ago, but I just, I had it every Monday, but then I had people that I was inviting and they would cancel on me at the last minute. And I was on a consistent Monday and people would cancel. So I'm gonna keep going even when they cancel and just do it by myself.
Yeah, just be ready to do it. Okay, great question. Any other questions from the group tonight? How many of you feel like you could do some of this stuff that we're talking about? Okay, I like selling. So I'll close this out with this, guys. I like selling one to many. I just think it's a much more economical way to do it. I really believe that this is the way of the future of selling, man. Being able to attract large numbers of people no matter what you're doing. Wendy, Navarre, what's your question? Still muted there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hey, Coach. Quick question for you on the repurposing of the content. I know utilizing your webinars, taking them to your videos, YouTube, and doing all of that stuff. I highly agree with everything that you're saying. I've not done it myself for most of what I do. Do you have like a format on how you do that?
On how I repurpose it?
On repurposing everything, like taking bits and pieces and just kind of putting it into a nice, clean cut, here's what I need to do every single time?
Yeah, I have some people on my team that basically can package that content up and put frames around it. Mm-hmm. So I may do a boot camp, a 2-day boot camp on something, and I may tell my videographer, package these up into 1 minute, 6 minute, 12-minute clips that I can use on social media. Right? Because you want to let people taste it. If you notice how much content I'm putting out on YouTube, it's a tremendous amount of content. It's pretty much every day. Every day I do a video on Facebook, it goes straight to YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Because I want people to taste the ice cream. I think if I hit it right and give away enough, they're going to go, man, I like this dude. He can help me. Right. Mm-hmm. So for me, the repurposing piece is you probably need a professional videographer to help pack. If you're capturing the video footage as much as I am, you're capturing it, packaging it, and pushing it out as fast as you can.
But you don't have like a certain system where you're taking it. Okay, you're just doing it based on the program. Okay, great. Yep. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yes, sir. Hi, Coach. So do you have to have a? Is this what you're talking about? This Rocket, is that also a CRM?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Genie Rocket is a funnel building, data management, and CRM company. And so basically as we collect data, then we can hit that data in different ways. I'm a big believer in connecting with a tribe of people with a frequency. I'm a big believer in me being in people's face over and over and over and over again in different ways. Instagram, so they see me in multiple directions. So Genie Rocket is perfect for that.
Okay. And then also, you have to have a website then as well?
You need a domain. In today's world, websites are almost outdated. What you really need in today's world are funnels. If you noticed, if you go back to my website, almost every single page has a funnel attached to it. And the funnel drives you to a buying decision. So I spent like 20 grand on my website when what I really could have had was just a funnel. right? And because the funnel forces you to make a decision. The website, you get lost and confused and where to go, and it doesn't direct you. To me, the future is, man, active landing pages that create a call to action. And that's basically what the Genie Rocket funnel does. Okay, so it could be schedule a meeting with you, Bruce. It could be, it doesn't have to sell them something. It could be schedule a strategy session with you. It could be take an action. It could be come to an event. It doesn't have to always be sell something, on a funnel. So a lot of people don't understand that. Now, the funnel is not going to sell the product or service. You're going to do these strategies I taught tonight to drive people to the funnel. Funnel is going to collect the data and force them to make a decision. And if you don't have these other pieces in place, the funnel won't work. That's what a lot of people don't understand, is they think the funnels are going to go out and magically create a bunch of leads for them. No, the strategies we're teaching tonight are going to drive the leads. The funnel is going to collect the data and capture it, put it into the CRM, and then you got to work that system to go back and contact them. Okay. All right, Darren.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, real quick, I have done YouTube and all in the past. Is there something that is out there that packages all of this together and streamlines it so that you can make that video and then shoot it out to all these different places? I mean, I did this 15 years ago when YouTube started. I remember doing them individually, cutting the videos, all of that. Is there a place to send that out now that you can send to multiple channels to streamline and make it easier?
Yes. And I have used that. It's on, you can schedule it. Anybody know what the name of that is? I don't use it right now, but I do know there is technology out there. I'm trying to think of what it is that you can schedule it and it can push it out across multiple channels.
Used to, TweetDeck would do it, and you could send it out to your Facebook and all of that. I'm not sure if it's even around anymore, but if there's something like that that could help put it in multiple places, so you're not sitting there for 45 minutes or an hour, sending the same data to different places. Yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, Hootsuite is one that Mark Berger said. I think, yeah, Hootsuite is one that can do that. Hootsuite. Okay, good question. All right, David, what's up? David Hepburn Jr.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for doing this today. You talked about concept. You talked about affinity. Was there a third point in that schedule there?
Yeah, basically, what I really want you to understand is that affinity is me basically deciding that I like what you're doing. Like for example, I'll take Sean Whalen, for example. I like the concept of lions, not sheep. I like what it stands for. I personally like it. Now, if I like and have an affinity toward that concept, then I'm one step closer to buying a hat that says lions, not sheep. Or I noticed the other day my wife was wearing a hat that said lions, not sheep. I'm like, hey, why don't you wear your monster producer hat, sweetheart? Support our brand. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I spoke at 10X, she had a 10X hat on. I'm like, what are you doing wearing 10X hat? You need to be wearing freaking monster producer, my brand. So it's a little joke we have. But here's my point. If I have an affinity toward the concept and I like you, I'm going to move towards you. Well, I don't know if I like you, David, if I don't see you doing webinars and you don't have a podcast and you don't it's like you're obscure to me. So the affinity piece is I'm watching you and I'm like, I like this dude, but I need enough, like Garrett White. I'll take Garrett White, for example. He and I were in Strategic Coach together, I think. And he created the whole, the warrior men concept. At first, I'm like, man, I don't like that dude. And then the more I watched him, and then I watched him give a talk to Russell Brunson before Brunson spoke at 10X3. And it was an incredible talk. And I'm like, I do like that dude. And then I found myself watching him more on Instagram. And it's not that I didn't like him, I just couldn't relate to him at first. But then when I saw him give that one talk, David, I'm like, I'm in. I like that dude, right? Like I'm one step closer to buying something from him or partnering with him on something. So for you, that's affinity. Affinity as I need to see enough of you to where I can make up my mind that I like you and I'm moving towards you.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Okay, Nick Redwin.
Yes, sir. So with the Genie Rocket and all that, like, and as far as like getting people to attend these webinars, do you have like a marketing strategy or you just push it out, pay ads, or is there some sector that you do that you'd be able to help me like get attendees to my webinars?
Mike, I came up with this concept after my conversation with Al Stasic on Friday. I called Mike Dole on Friday night. I said, I need a graphic that says how to create 3,000 leads in 90 days. I created the Zoom in less than 5 minutes, and I started marketing this with no paid advertising whatsoever to my database of 20,000, 25,000, then to my social media. And we had 280 people register for tonight. Now, so look how fast I created the concept. Created the concept on Friday, created the graphic on Saturday, promoted from Saturday with 3 emails to my database and my social media, and we got 280 people. Now, what if I had a weak concept? What if the concept said how to produce 10 leads in 90 days? Well, right? Like there wouldn't be 280 people sign up. Now, here, that's my point. See, this is why I cannot stress this enough. When I go to the bookstore, I look at the concepts. Think about this, Atomic Habits. How powerful is that concept? That's an incredible concept, man. Right? So I go back to the whole thing is driven by, can you come up with a powerful concept that people are attracted to and people are interested in? Okay. And if you can't do that, or if you can't pick a fight with somebody, or you don't solve a big problem, you know, this is what you got to come up with, man. You got to come up with a great concept and you got to push it out. But I don't have to pay. You can spend money on the advertising, Nick. You just need a little bit more lead time. I just didn't have enough time when I come up with this to do it. So I just pushed it out organically. Okay. All right. Any more questions, folks? I got time for 1 or 2 more. Okay. Good. Looks like we made some progress tonight. If you got a question, just email us, man. I'll be happy to help you. I look forward to seeing you. MB School of Speaking's coming up.
I got a quick question there for you.
Go ahead, David.
Burt. So on the showcase, you said there was 3 types: education, entertainment, and then I got edu-entertainment, but I didn't think that was the 3rd one.
Yeah, edutainment. So education, teach them something. Entertainment, let them have fun. Edutainment, which teach them something and let them have fun.
Okay, I got that. Thank you.
Okay? You're in real estate. You guys know how to have fun. So just teach them something and then let them have fun. If I was recruiting people for EXP, because I'm coaching a lot of top EXP people right now, man, I would be positioning by concept. People's croc brain is so nervous that if you could, like, here's a good example. I did an interview with Jimmy Franklin, EXP, and I interviewed him for a podcast called Person of Interest. And then we took that interview and I said, man, use this interview to just send it to people. And you know, just use it as a great tool to share with people. They can make up their own mind if they like you, if they want to do business with you, if they want to partner with you. But having the asset of the podcast is a non-invasive way to recruit people. See, if I was running a big EXP team and I said, look, David, man, I did this podcast the other day where a guy was asking me, and I just sent it to you. You can watch it, number 1, in your car when nobody's around. So your buddies at your real estate company don't know you're watching it. You can watch it when you're driving. You can watch it when you're working out. Like, it's such a great recruiting tool, right? So that is a backdoor way to recruit people. Okay. Podcast, interviews, long form, documentaries. Okay. My buddy Chuck McDowell, who owns Wesley Financial, just did an incredible documentary about how he called himself the timeshare warrior, how he gets people out of timeshares. They did like a whole documentary on him. And he uses that. I bet it's his number 1 sales tool that he's got. Guaranteed. People watch that documentary. There's no way they're not doing business with that dude. Okay. So that's an incredible thing. All right. All right, folks. Been an incredible night tonight. Thank you so much for showing up. Happy Labor Day to you. Okay. This is what the real players do on Labor Day. All right. So I'll be seeing you guys soon. Reach out to me if you need anything. Coach@coachburt.com. Look forward to seeing you if you come into Monster Nation or anything else. Hey, let's go out there and create them concepts, folks. 3,000 leads in 90 days. Have a great day.